asked me what my favorite kind of dog was, and I said a hot dog, and then they acted like that wasn't an acceptable response. Like, I love a good hot dog.
Hey, fun fans, it's We Enjoy here to talk about the year of living a quarter mile at a time. In our main event today, we are the Mattitude Eric. I am Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Goldman.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I don't know if you ever realized it if you watched The Year of Living Dangerously, but that is a prequel to the Fast and Furious movies.
It is true. Also, I think it's just 3 weeks, not a full year. So, but we'll discuss later. I'm just going by Sigourney Weaver's character's timeline of when she's leaving.
Right.
Feels like a year, though. Let me tell you. Woo! Okay. So today's main event is the 1982 Peter Weir movie, The Year of Living Dangerously, a movie neither of us had seen going into this. So one of those rare occasions. And then we'll get into next week's my pick for the final 1982 movie. It'll also be it'll be the final of this run before we start our big franchise run that'll take a while.
Yes.
Big franchise, lots to discuss. It's going to take a while. You'll understand why we're doing it when we get to it. All right, Eric, first of all, before we get into your high seas adventures, it is too fucking hot. I want to remove my skin. I'm angry at the sun. I've written strongly worded letters to our central solar body that is just aggravating me day in and day out. It's oppressive. I hate it. Okay, that and rant.
It cooled down a little bit here to the mid 80s, but I'm looking ahead, and we got 97 coming. We got it's been horrible, and even on my trip, by the end, because I began in Florida, then I was on the cruise, but the final full day on the cruise, it was excruciatingly hot. And then, that last day in Florida, it was excruciatingly hot.
It's like 105 here on the hottest days and like 93 at night. And it's awful. And yes, there are places in the country and in the world that are much hotter. And you can like shout at me from Phoenix, Arizona, or wherever it's hotter. But keep in mind, I will win this argument because I am a huge baby when it comes to being hot. I hate being hot. I hate everything about it. I wish I lived in an igloo or a meat freezer or the cave on Hoth where the big monster was. Just any sort of ice realm, like beyond the wall where the Night King lives.
Matt likes a cold room. And in fact, I will mention that because I guess we can talk about this. There's no reason not to talk about the fact that we might be staying together at Comic-Con. And Trish said, well, you'll have a cool room because Trish is.
Yeah, but Trish is on my side with that. Trish is on Team Matt. She's on Team Icicle.
She does. There are, because, I'm usually like, if it's like midnight and I feel like it's cooled down a bit here, I don't need the AC blasting, but she will.
No, it needs to be like I need to be one of those suits that keeps Mr. Freeze cool and keeps Nora Freeze in suspended animation so that McGregor syndrome can be cured.
That'll be your cosplay.
And I just have a ton of ice puns, and I say ice to meet you and take 2 of Freeze and call me in the morning.
He didn't say that, though.
He didn't, and it aggravates me. I don't like it. Never leave a pun on the table. That's just punny on the table. All right.
Well, if you ever met Akiva Goldsman, you'd be like, how could you have dropped the ball?
Maybe I'll meet him at Comic-Con, Eric.
There you go.
Tell him that everything he says is a pun except that line, which needs a pun. Okay. Yeah. That bat suit, by the way, is up for auction for $40,000 or something like that. I don't know. Something passed my glance in my eyes on Twitter today. So tell us all about the Disney Wish, or a little bit about it, not all about
it. 3 hours later. No, Disney Wish, which I think we mentioned a little bit. My first ever cruise at all, much less a Disney cruise. But also this was the Disney Wish's first official sailing. I'm sure they did test sailings, but this was like the christening sailing, as they called it. It was awesome, Matt. I'm a convert. You're
a convert to a Disney cruise, not like a cruise though.
No, Disney Cruise.
Yes, that I can understand.
Because what I'd heard, and it is true, because here, I laying it all on the table, I didn't pay for this. I was sent as press, and I didn't pay for this. But Trish and I, and she hadn't been on a Disney cruise either, we are going to book a Disney cruise in the next year because when we looked at what the prices were, we're like, this is what you are getting, especially these days as theme park prices go up and up. You get a lot for your money on a Disney cruise, just in terms of not just the fact that you're like, getting all your meals and drinks, not counting booze, but the fact that there's so much entertainment, the fact that there is like, go watch like the Little Mermaid Broadway style show and, character interactions and the water slide, little ride on top. There's just a lot of stuff to do. I really was impressed, had a great time. There's the Star Wars bar is fun, and the Marvel restaurant where they have the original show starring Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Brie Larson, Anthony Mackie, and Aman Vellani. And we cheered when Miss Marvel showed up because our table was a table of Miss Marvel fans. And she's fighting alongside Anthony Mackie as Captain America, and it's really cool. It was all very fun stuff. And there's like, for the kids section has like a Star Wars cargo bay where they've got like a little animatronic porg and all these creatures. There's just delights, Matt. I was delighted.
And also murder.
A Disney murder mystery. And it got some online traction, and I even in my interview asked about it, but it was very funny that Ant-Man, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, makes a reference to the Thanos, to going up Thanos's butt meme. So you get an official Paul Rudd as Ant-Man reference to that, which I was told was written by Michael Waldron, writer of Loki and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, who did a pass on that script. And
well, now that we know that from the Miss Marvel show that Scott Lang did a series of podcast interviews.
Yes.
Which is an in-universe answer, not a catch-all answer, but it's a good enough answer to like why, again, beginning with WandaVision, normal people humans on the street knew things about the battle at the end of Endgame, the battle for Earth, like why they knew certain things. And it sounds like he's just did the circuit, was a blabbermouth, charming, but probably spilled a little too many of the beans. And I would like to think also on these podcasts, someone asked him about the Thanos butt thing too.
Yeah, there you go. That's where it came out. And then we don't have to talk too much more about this. Just say they're freaking island, Matt. The island.
Yeah, you went to Lost Boy Island. I know
in the Bahamas, where the water was beautiful and clear, and it was a lovely day. And there's free barbecue, Matt. It's like, yes, it's like something you've paid for as part of the package, but there's just like, want more burgers and ribs? I know you're a vegan, you wouldn't want that, but I'm saying it was just like,
Disney is pretty good with vegans.
They'll have options. Yeah, absolutely, they'll have options.
But yeah, always good. But I appreciate the options.
It was it was great. We bought a bunch of merch. Look, Matt, I've got a pin. I'm showing Matt a pin for a boat that I've been on.
well, I'm going to show you.
You got the pin. You don't need the boat.
You have a TV guide. You don't need a TV.
Great podcast.
Actually, did I get one of these? Well, I'm showing you my Halcyon pin from Galactic Star Cruiser.
See, that's nice. Yeah, I didn't get a Halcyon pin.
Yeah.
But I do thank you for buying me the when I went to the Galaxy's Edge press event, they didn't have the merch store open. And Matt got me when he went to Galactic Star Cruiser. He got me the Magic Band, which I wore, Matt.
Yes, on this I have the special Magic Band though. I have the white one.
Yes, I got the black one
as a guest. Yeah, and
I wore it at Epcot. So yeah, Disney Cruise. I was very impressed. This new ship was great. But the whole experience, because we talked to our friends, Amy Ratcliffe, from Nerdist, we hung out with her and her husband a bunch, and this was like their 5th cruise, including their honeymoon. And now we're cruise people. That's what I'm just saying.
You know about that cruise lifestyle.
That's right.
All right, let's get into
Speed 2 cruise control.
You're like, now I like that movie. I understand all of it. I understand.
Now, do you have leeches?
I know what a knot is. Okay. In entertainment news this week, very quickly, our last episode was our last episode. We did a bunch. We did Little Mermaid, and
because we had a break
Last
and
Unicorn.
then we did things back to back. Yeah,
we did Obi-Wan, Last Unicorn, and what was it? E.T.?
E.T.
Was that one of the one?
Mhm.
One of them was like an hour and 13 minutes. I'm like, this is perfect length. So let's try to get through this quickly and effortlessly. The Duffer Brothers, who are once again back in the news, reaping the rewards and praise and accolades for Stranger Things season 4, which was split into 2 parts, which had episodes which are way too damn long. At one point, I think we were thinking of doing a breakout episode, but we didn't. I have thoughts on that show, but we could save it for maybe the final season. It is just, it's a great show. It's also a bloated show. But the Duffer Brothers are on a bullet train to success, where they have a new production house with Netflix, and they are producing some things, including a new, and I wanted to bring this up because we mentioned Adam Wingard a few times on this podcast. One of his stumbles in the features category is the live action Death Note that he did, which was sort of bashed and lambasted by Death Note fans and movie fans in general. It just was sort of a misstep and a misfire, but they are to the point where so many people don't want live action versions of these beloved anime.
Right.
Cowboy Bebop being another sort of hiccup in this sort of live action transition. So, but this time it's not a movie, it is a series that the Duffer Brothers production house is producing of Death Note. So an ongoing live action series. No word on yet of if it's going to make the mistake of having Anglo stars or anything like that. But all we know is it's live action and it's a series. And they're also doing an adaptation of Stephen King and Peter Straub's The Talisman. Well, partnering with Amblin Entertainment and Paramount TV. There's also a new series from the creators of Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. It doesn't mean it's a Dark Crystal series, just coming from them.
Yeah.
And what's the I think the production house is called the Upside Down Studios or something
something like that. And then we should mention with Talisman that and don't worry, I'm not gonna, like, if you haven't seen Stranger Things final 2 episodes, I'm not gonna go into any story spoilers, but the book The Talisman is prominently seen at one point in the final episodes, and it turns out it's that thing of like sneak preview of what we're going to do next. Like Pixar likes to do that. Every Pixar movie has a little visual thing from the next Pixar movie. Mike Flanagan has done that with Easter egging things, like Midnight Mass, being a in-universe book in a previous film. But yeah, so The Talisman getting that like very prominent little spotlight turned out to be that's what we're going to do next. And especially, obviously, there's so much Stephen King influence on Stranger Things, so it makes sense that they're actually going to.
Well, and it makes sense that Amblin is also teaming with them for this adaptation, because Stranger Things is basically Amblin meets Stephen King. It's just
100%.
It's just 80s blend.
And it's funny, Death Note. So I haven't seen the Death Note movie. I haven't seen the anime. I haven't seen the movie. It's the only Wingard thing I haven't seen. And if I do ever watch it, I won't have any preconceived notions about it because I haven't seen the anime. It is interesting to see that they're doing another adaptation so soon that, Netflix is like, all right, we have the rights. Let's just do it, and try it again.
My 2 youngest kids are super into the anime and did not like the movie at all and are wary of this new project. Okay.
I know it's a popular one. The people like the Death Note.
They do like the Death Note. They like death. They like notes. They like when you put them together, you get a Death Note, and it's just perfect. The Clerks III trailer dropped today, which was we knew it was happening because Kevin Smith has sort of been announcing it for. I think the past week there's been like a countdown for the Clerks III trailer. What do you think, Eric? I'm not a Clerks head. I've seen the Clerks movies. I've seen the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back movie, but I just kind of see these movies and bear witness. I'm not like a super fan.
I wouldn't call myself ever a super fan, but I was I think I'm like a lot of people in that I was like genuinely like a pretty big Smith fan in the late 90s. And then it kind of felt like, I was maturing and he wasn't. We split off, because I used to have all those movies on DVD. And when even though I never really liked Mallrats, but I liked Clerks and I liked Chasing Amy. I thought Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was really funny. But then at a certain point, I was like, I'm not into these anymore. And then I wasn't into the stuff he was doing as much. But I will say I have a lot of nostalgic affection for those movies. I did watch a early pandemic lockdown movie I watched was Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and we enjoyed it. It wasn't like amazing, but Trish and I watched it together, and we both.
I haven't even
funny.
seen that. That's how little a super fan I am. I guess I forgot
Right,
that movie came out. I forgot
that was his
movie.
first return to the
Yeah.
View-Askew-averse in quite a while, and also his reunion with Ben Affleck, which that was the greatest thing about that movie was that him and Affleck made up, and now Affleck is appearing in his movies again, including Clerks 3, where he
there's a little snippet in the trailer showing him.
And so I watched this trailer today, and I was like, ah, like again, I think Kevin Smith is well aware of who he is, and that he, this movie is a meta movie because it's like they're making the first Clerks, but a lot of self-aware jokes about like this is played out with Jay and Silent Bob. And I'm like, I'm gonna watch it. It looks cute. And I think because I like Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, again, didn't love it, but I was like, this is nice. It put me in a more mood to be like, all right, Clerks 3, sure.
I'm gonna say I'll watch Clerks 3, but I just realized 2 minutes ago that I didn't watch Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. So who knows what the future holds for
You'll
me.
be lost. It's you can't, it's like skipping an MCU movie.
Yeah, I'm like, it's like watching Multiverse of Madness without seeing WandaVision. So Clerks 3, so Clerks was one of the, as you and I in the entertainment school, vocational school in the 90s, like film school. Clerks was a big deal as far as like a small budgeted movie that made waves. It was one of those things where these people talk like we talk, and they talk about things
micro budget movie in that case.
Yeah, this was like he maxed out his credit cards, right? Like just to make this film.
Filmed it at the convenience store. He really worked that.
I never held a deep affinity for it. I always appreciated it. It's just his style of writing just wasn't usually for me. But watching this trailer, I still found myself getting a little the twinge of nostalgia, watching it through nostalgia goggles a little bit, even for a movie I didn't really like all that much. I was like, just like you. I'm like, wait a minute, I hate this movie. I didn't
and then it's funny because Clerks 2 opened Comic-Con weekend. I remember or I can't remember if it opened Comic-Con weekend or they did a Comic-Con screening. I just know I watched it during Comic-Con with a very appreciative Comic-Con crowd. And also we've mentioned before that Clerks, for better or for worse, I know some people would say for worse, its big impact that is still felt today is basically that Death Star conversation. Like going that deep on they're just like us. Like they're having a super. Tarantino did it a little bit, but Kevin Smith did it even more of like, hey, they're just having this super minutia geeky conversation. Other movies would make a Star Wars reference, but not to the degree that Kevin Smith did. And now that is like a commonplace thing on like sitcoms, on everything.
It's what Tarantino started, which infected other movies, is the same thing. Tarantino, I think we brought this up, that Tarantino and Kevin Smith both did this around the same time and introduced pop culture banter into movies in different ways. That being said, as a self-proclaimed not huge Kevin Smith fan, I've always appreciated him as an orator and a podcaster, or just like general speaker. He's very entertaining and quick and thoughtful. Also, does that mean that I once had a 15-minute phoner with him where I asked 2 questions? Yes, because his answers are very long. He just goes on and on and on because talking is his particular set of taken skills.
I will say this very quickly because there's a very good chance I said both these things when we talked about him in the past, which is my quick versions of my 2 Kevin Smith character stories. One is not my story, which is Travis Fickett when he worked with me at IGN, that he had a phoner with Kevin Smith that kept getting bumped. Kevin's busy. Can we bump it from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.? Kevin's busy. Can we bump it to 3 p.m.? And Kevin Smith ended up calling Travis at like 7 at night, and they talked for 90 minutes.
Oh my God. So that he's a genuinely awesome, nice dude. And also it's interesting to see this movie talk about Stephen King and like how he, remember Stephen King's horrific car wreck and how it affected his writing and how he kind of wrote that into it. Well, now Kevin Smith's heart attack is also
becoming Randall's heart attack
into this movie.
And my Kevin Smith story is my personal one, is that when I went to Vancouver, I went to Vancouver a million times for set visits, but one trip to Vancouver, it was a huge line for customs at the Vancouver airport. One of the longest waits I ever had, like better part of an hour. And Kevin Smith was directly in front of me. and I started talking to him. He was there to direct the Reaper pilot. And so I got an entertaining hour in this freaking line because I just talking to Kevin Smith about movies and stuff. So that was nice. My second best Vancouver airport custom story after the time Summer Glau and I talked the entire time in line, and then I got detained by security when I got to the front of the line.
Having only seen Clerks 2 once and I barely remember it, does that mean that April and I didn't drive to Austin for a movie's pop-up that happened? Because it was vegan. So
Right.
it was all vegan food. So it's like, okay, fuck, it's movies and it's all vegan. It's everything we can eat because of
This is when you
vegan
reveal your movies tattoo I didn't know about.
Yeah, it says movies with the extra O's. Okay, let's see. It's kind of the news, all the news that's fit to print and pod this week. Let's get into a few messages here from our listeners, both on Patreon. And so let's bring up our Patreon real quick. For $4 a month, you can get commercial-free versions of this weekly podcast, our regular episodes, as well as our bonus monthly episodes where we talk about usually MCU and Star Wars things, but also whatever sort of big pop culture movies going on at the time. The last one that broke that mold was Jurassic Park Dominion. We were already doing a Jurassic Park marathon, and we did that on an extra breakout episode. So you can go over to Patreon and become a patron of ours, which also allows you to just write us messages, which you can also do as a non-patron at weenjoypodcast@gmail.com or just on Twitter. So Michael writes in on Patreon, and this is after we called The Big Lebowski mid, Eric. The Big Lebowski is mid. This aggression will not stand, man. Is what Michael
again, like I said, I legit at some point, whether it be on this podcast or not, Lebowski's one of those movies that I think I'll give it another shot 25 years later and see, do I like this better?
I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea. My hope is that I think we've already done a good job of framing that, which is like movies we didn't dig that a lot of other people did dig that we're giving another chance. It feels a little bit like, well, let's see if I like it again. It feels like naughty. I don't like it. I also don't want to purposely watch a movie I know I didn't like and then not like it again just to drink it down again. I don't want to be like we're already are going to watch movies just by default that we don't really like. And this is a We Enjoy podcast. So I don't want it to become like a negative type like marathon run. But I think the idea is good. Big Lebowski is just one of those movies that like was so popular and is such a favorite and is definitely didn't hit me when it hit, and it's definitely not my favorite Coen Brothers movie either.
They just announced the Big Lebowski sideshow figure.
Really?
Yeah.
Like I hope it's the dude.
Oh, yeah, it's the dude.
Because that would be a waste.
But for a $250 dude figure.
All right.
I'm sending you a link in the chat so you can see it for yourself.
Good. And then Daniel also writes in on Patreon. I've been a listener since channel surfing, so I'm happy that We Enjoy exists. Thank you, Daniel. Keep up the great work. Listening to the podcast, one of the recent podcasting, you talked about great child performances. I just recently watched Jojo Rabbit for the first time. I found that kid amazing. Have you both seen it? What did you think? Yes, we've both seen it. We both love Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah. And
I agree with you. This must have been the ET podcast he was listening to, because that's when we talked about great child actors. And a great child actor can really, I would say a bad child actor doesn't necessarily break a movie, but man, a great one can certainly make a movie.
Yeah. I mean, and so it's hard. Like, again, it's like, because kid actors, not to say there aren't plenty of good kid actors, but it's also that thing of finding the right director and just having it not be the overacting thing. But when it works, it really works. Also, I'm looking at this dude figure and that he comes with a little joint. He's holding a little joint in his.
Let me look at this shit. Let me look at this little joint. Where's your little joint, dude? Oh yeah. Oh, I like that they have the figure laying down on the ground, the pillow. Does the bowling ball come with it? I hope so.
Yeah. Don't worry. There's a bowling ball.
I was worried. Okay. Does he have a White Russian too? I'm trying to remember that movie. I really don't remember.
I don't think he has a White Russian. Oh no, he does.
I know there was a rug that tied the room together, and there was a lot of other things that people quoted. Okay, So that's kind of it for write-ins. Did anyone tweet at us? I can't remember.
I was on a boat, Matt. I was distracted.
I know, and I'm still
and I had
on
really bad
I still feel like I'm on Germany time, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually came back from this trip with really bad jet lag and woke up at like 4 and I was so tired last night. I couldn't I usually stay up to watch, Miss Marvel or whatever the hot Disney Plus show is. Couldn't stay up last night, but then woke up at 4 in the morning, couldn't fall back asleep, and that's when I watched Miss Marvel.
I had horrible jet lag coming back from Germany, and I'd been overseas before with a lot of time. Maybe it's because I was there for almost 2 weeks. Maybe that was why. But yeah, I was to the point where I was like, do I have COVID? Because I felt like that fatigued and drowsy sometimes. And it could be long COVID. Who knows? Who knows what you feel when you feel it nowadays? You never know.
I've been wondering that, Matt, because I had COVID a few weeks ago, very mild what I felt, but I've been really tired lately, and I'm like, is this my long COVID? Right?
This has just been my life for the past.
Or is it that
I had it 2 years
life
ago?
is draining right now?
Also, the thing about life is that it's every day. That's the problem with waking up. You got to do it every day.
Yeah, and I'm just like, the news is terrible, everything's terrible. So there's so many different reasons to feel like restless and like I can't sleep, or like I feel like tired all the time. Who knows?
You know where life wasn't terrible? Germany. And for you, Disney Wish.
That's true.
Let's go back. Man, they had these best vegan donuts I've ever had in my life over in Berlin. Nice. Amazing. We were I didn't go into our travel woes, did I?
No, I mean, I of course, if people follow you on Twitter, they got some look at it.
But I didn't talk about it on the podcast. I can't remember. All I'll say is that what was supposed to take, I don't know, 18 hours.
You might have said a brief version of it.
What did I talk about landing in Iceland? I can't remember.
I don't recall.
Okay, so the whole thing was like, I won't go into everything. Getting there was a nightmare. Getting back was a nightmare, but less of a nightmare. But basically, what should have taken 18 hours took 40, and it was awful. And I got to experience for the first time. Is there a doctor on the plane?
What?
Yeah, we need a medical professional, to the point where we had to make an emergency landing on our way to Dublin.
I didn't know this.
Which is where we had a connecting flight. We landed in Iceland because someone was having a medical emergency involving barfing or pooping or both. And they couldn't stop barfing and or pooping.
Oh no!
And I don't know how it all turned out, if they got on a plane or if they put a cork in them. But we were in Iceland for about 2 hours. It looked very pretty from my window. Fortunately, we had an 8-hour layover in Dublin, so none of this was making me worried about missing our connecting flight.
Okay,
I was like, yeah, we can hang out in Iceland a little bit. It's cool.
Which is a dream destination for my wife. That's like on her.
It looked very nice. Those little houses and the hot springs and the fjords and all that stuff. Anyway, but yeah, so we were so tired and hungry that, and we were going to be getting in at like 10 at night, and there was a vegan donut place we really wanted to go to. So basically, what happened is that we ordered a box of donuts to be delivered to the hotel. So when we got in, we literally just ate donuts for dinner. So it was waiting at the desk.
At least you planned ahead,
Yeah, sitting around in Dublin, we're like ordering donuts in Germany to be delivered.
Well, see that, at least you can say that sentence.
All right. So yes, please join our Patreon. And if you already have or have updated your Patreon membership from the 1 tier to the higher tier, we absolutely appreciate everything you do and all of your support of our podcast wholeheartedly. Thank you so much. And let's get into our good things to enjoy. Eric, I see yours written here, and I'll just start by saying I endorse this endorsement of yours.
Well, that's great, because I'm going to endorse your endorsement too, Matt.
Yes.
Just
feeling good all the time.
That's right. This is one that I recently was finally catching up on. I'm like 2 episodes away from the end of the season. But Ghosts. This is the US remake of the UK show. I've not seen the UK version, although I'd be curious to check it out and see what their version of these characters are like. I imagine they'd have to be a little different, just regionally speaking. But Ghosts, the CBS comedy which completed its first season this year, is coming back for a season 2. Especially these days where it's like I pretty much watch almost nothing that is on network except for Survivor. But I kept hearing good things about the show. Abbott Elementary is the other like comedy I want to watch that I keep hearing good things about, but I haven't gotten to that one yet. Ghosts I've gotten to, and it's a lot of fun. Briefly, conceptually, what the show is about is a couple who the wife is a married couple that they have inherited a house after her a relative, her aunt, I believe, died, and they go to the house. And we know from the beginning that there are a bunch of ghosts in this house. And then she has a near-death experience, the wife, and now she can see ghosts. Her husband cannot, but now she can interact with these ghosts, and they are from all these different eras. There's a Viking, there's a Native American, there is a hippie, and there's like a guy, a douchey Wall Street bro from the year 2000 is the most recent one. And it's just really fun, really likable. The early episodes, I was saying, like, they weren't like hysterical to me. But it was very pleasant, and I was enjoying it. And I think it actually gets funnier, like laugh out loud funnier as it goes on. But even the one episodes that I didn't think were like hysterical, I was just enjoying the interplay. It's a large ensemble because it's 10 characters, 7, there's like 7 ghosts and the 2 leads. But they're all really fun, enjoyable. A lot of these actors, like, they have credits, but they're not recognizable, like, big stars, but they're all doing great work. The leads are I definitely knew. I'm gonna massacre his name because I'm a stupid white American. I'm so sorry. The Utkarsh Ambudkar, who plays Jay, the husband, who I knew from Free Guy. He was Joe Curie's buddy, working at the video game place for Taika Waititi. But he has a bunch of credits. He was also in Pitch Perfect. And then Rose McIver plays the wife, who, I watched iZombie. I was a big fan of that show. I also covered iZombie, and I think I've mentioned that Rose McIver is a delightful human being. She's just a very nice person, but she's also very likable on screen. And it's of course, it's funny if you were an iZombie fan that she is once again in a comedic show with like a big supernatural, twist to it. And I really like as it goes on. I won't go into too many details, but it's like they explore more of what it means that she can see ghosts, because she can see ghosts everywhere in the world. It's just we're mostly staying in this house, but there are other ghosts on the property, and there are other ghosts out in the world if she ventures out that she will see as well. And I like where they go with it. Anyway, so yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying this show, and I've got, like I said, 1 or 2 episodes of the 18 episode for season to watch.
Did you mention where they can watch it?
Oh, I did not. It's a CBS sitcom, but it's on Paramount Plus. So if you want to watch the entire first season is on Paramount Plus.
My history with this show is that I reviewed the first episode for IGN, the premiere, and I liked it a lot. And I've watched probably half the first season. I like you, I haven't caught up, but I think it's very funny. I was dreading the show because A, it's a network sitcom. B, it's a CBS sitcom. C, the premise itself was like, when you mentioned that there's like a hippie ghost where it's like, it feels like it would just fall into really dumb stereotypes. It sidesteps this by, yes, leaning into that, but also being very clever and funny. Like it surprised me because I thought it was going to be sort of a booby parade, and it wasn't. It was pretty funny.
And I should mention, because I know it makes a difference to some people, it's a single camera comedy. It is not a studio audience CBS sitcom. CBS used to be almost entirely old school.
It worked well for them. Yeah,
it worked very well for them. But now they ventured out. I mean, it was interesting when Young Sheldon, a spin-off prequel of a huge traditional sitcom hit for them with Big Bang, was a single camera show. And now they've embraced that a bit more than they used to. And then Ghost is that. And I agree. Like, yeah, it's like there's a easy to picture the bad version of Ghost.
For sure.
But this is,
and also hearing that it's an American remake of a British show, which
right.
Office aside has not a great track record per se. But yeah, Ghost's very funny. And then Eric will also co-endorse my pick this week.
I will.
Which is, I think, one of the funniest shows of the last decade. It kind of got overshadowed quite a bit by cultier hits like Community and Parks and Rec. And even though fans were it was a bubble show that people always wanted renewed, it wasn't like the fan voices weren't as loud for this show as other shows. which is Happy Endings, which lasted 3 seasons. The first season was like 12 or 13 episodes, but the second 2 seasons were like network seasons of like over 20. So it has a good amount of episodes to watch. You can catch them all on Hulu. And Happy Endings is one of those comedies with an amazing ensemble, but one that started with a very particular premise that was sort of quickly dropped in favor of a hang show, where it's like the premise is that there's a couple getting married, played by Alicia Cuthbert, who you will know from mid-aughts horror movies.
Well, at 24.
And 24 as Jack Bauer's daughter. And Zachary Knighton, who I believe was on Magnum P.I., is still on. Is that show still on CBS?
That show just got saved by NBC. CBS canceled it, and NBC just gave it a 2-season pickup.
Wow, yeah. So he's been doing his Hawaii time in Magnum P.I., and they're this couple, and she leaves him at the altar, and it's about sort of like what happens to a friend group when this couple breaks up. Like, who gets the friends? How do the other friends deal with them as now a broken up couple?
Well, that's what they kept saying what the show was about. But then
so that's how the show starts, and very quickly that gets dropped in favor of these are just 7 silly people that hang out.
Right, like it's like the way they kept acting like this would be a big important thing in the current present of the show, but it ended up being as important as knowing that Jerry and Elaine dated prior to Seinfeld.
Right,
it's just part of the background.
Which is to say, it's brought up a couple times.
Yeah,
and Seinfeld in season 2 actually has sort of an episode where they get back together. And all that stuff. So it's treated like that, like he said. But it is very funny. It's got, I already mentioned Alicia Cuthbert and Zachary Knighton. It also has the wonderfully talented Eliza Coupe, Adam Pally, who you'll know from many things, including the Tony Stark Stan in the van from Iron Man 3.
Stan in the van, yeah.
He also has, I'm seeing commercials now because I watched AEW Dynamite tonight, something on Turner called 101 Places to Party that he's doing with something else. It's like a travel log show where you go around and drink and eat in different cities. Anyway, interesting to see Adam Pally in that. He's very funny. Casey Wilson, who's amazing as Penny, and then Damon Wayans Jr. And Damon Wayans Jr. and Eliza Coupe play a power couple on this show. Mm-hmm. It's extremely funny. I can't recommend it enough. It was very close to becoming like IGN's Comedy of the Year, 2 seasons at least. I would recommend, though, going online and finding the correct order to watch these episodes in.
Yes.
Because the episodes, I believe it was only season 1. The episodes are aired out of order to the point where the very like thin premise that I already mentioned, if you don't watch them in order, there's episodes that don't make sense, kind of continuity.
Right. And this happens a lot, and happens more with comedies where the network is like, let's air the episodes that they think. It happened with Firefly. The episodes that they think are stronger, they move to the front, but it can really screw up like what the hell is going on. Now, I felt like, Matt, I heard if you watch it on Hulu, they fixed this issue.
The last time I checked Hulu, they didn't. So I don't know when you heard.
So yeah, I would double check because it's definitely can be an issue. Got it.
Yeah,
Alias.
It's a quick Google to check and see if they're in the right order or not.
Alias season 4 did this, and it was a big pain in the ass. Undeclared did this, and it's a big pain in the ass because it's one of those things where it's just it'll be like a subtle issue where like I'm giving an Alias specific example, but it's like a character. Two characters will go on a date, but then 2 weeks later he's like, "Oh, I like her. I want to ask her out." And you're like, what? Like, but we saw them go on a date. And you just kind of realize it's not like the A story, but you just start to realize that something weird about that. Happy Endings is great. It's just, one of those.
I still quote it to this day.
Same here.
Yeah.
Trish and I love this show, and she loved Trish is very type A, and she really identified with Jane, and how hysterical Eliza Coupe was in that role. It's just one of those ensemble casts that work so well together. And it is, like you said, Matt, it's like it was a beloved, a critically acclaimed and beloved show, but it didn't rise to that sort of next level of like the NBC cult shows like Community and Parks and Rec that kept managing to come back, because Happy Endings only went 3 seasons. But I will say that when WandaVision last year did their like recent the aughts episode of WandaVision, which was mainly of course mockumentary style, and Modern Family was the big thing vibe that they were sending there. But the opening credits were very specifically parodying happy endings, which was so awesome because I on Twitter I even saw, because I tweeted out like a GIF of the happy endings opening credits, being like, I love the WandaVision opening credits, and it was a split between people going, wasn't that great, and a split people going, thank you for telling me what that was supposed to be a parody of, because I could tell it's a parody of something. Because happy endings exists in that genuine cult level, you know, where a lot of people will not know that they're watching a reference to happy endings.
It's created by David Caspi, I can't remember, who in real life is married to Casey Wilson, I believe, has produced other shows. But it's just worth mentioning for the nerd news of it is that the Russo brothers directed the pilot, and then the Russo brothers, because they also directed for Community, the Russo brothers also, after the pilot, directed episodes, but separately. Like Joe would direct one, Anthony would direct another, and then other directors of the show were like Fred Savage and Jay Super Troopers, or I should say Broken Lizards, Jay Chandrakasar, I'm murdering his name. Some really great Michael Patrick Jan of The State. So some really great comedy directors had their hand also in behind the camera in this.
But yeah, the Russos, this was like after Arrested Development and Community, the sitcom they were the most connected to was Happy Endings, doing a bunch of episodes. And I think it was the same thing, Matt, if you look at the credits of those other shows, like on Community, there'd be episodes that they were both listed. There'd be episodes where one of them was listed, and I always wondered, did they both just work on it, but only one of them was credited?
And they just took the credit. Yeah. All right. I'll do it for Good Things to Enjoy this week. A bunch of hilarity, I must say.
And I think Happy Endings, last I saw, it was actually a show that they've licensed to multiple streaming services, but I do know it's on Hulu, but I think it was
Hulu's on something that a lot of people have, so I just brought that up.
But it might be on Netflix too. Checking.
Next week's 1982 movie, which will round out our 1982 40-year look back, is my pick, which is The Dark Crystal. And it's sort of keeping in the theme of my picks of kids movies, family fare, that was edgy and dark and scared me when I watched it in the theater.
Right.
And I saved Secret of Nim and Last Unicorn were big for me, but Dark Crystal was bigger. And because the other ones I didn't want to go back and see, I liked them in the movie theaters and they scared me for whatever the various dark parts of them were. Dark Crystal was one I wanted to see again, and I think did see again. I also had the magazine size comic of it that used to be prevalent back in the day for movies. And so Dark Crystal, and you can see that on HBO Max, not HBO Go.
HBO Go is old news,
but Cinemax Go is still around.
But by the way, Happy Endings is not on Netflix, but it's on HBO Max. So if you want to go over there to watch Dark Crystal, also watch Happy Endings.
Come for Dark Crystal, stay for the happy endings.
I'll say this one quick thing about Dark Crystal. I think it's fun, Matt, that the three movies you chose, and you were just choosing three movies from your childhood, but for me, you chose three very different things, because you chose Nim, which I saw in the theater and I saw several times as a kid. You chose Last Unicorn, which I had never seen until I watched it for this podcast. And you chose Dark Crystal, which I missed entirely as a kid and watched about 10 years ago for the first time.
Wow. Dark Crystal was a big part of
a bunch of different experiences I have.
Is my Wi-Fi network at my house called FizzGig? Perhaps. Who's to say? Who's to say? All right. So Dark Crystal is next week. And then after that, we will start a new franchise.
Yes.
An actual, let's just say, horror franchise. We'll say that much. All right, but let's dig into Peter Weir's The Year of Living Dangerously, a film neither of us had seen. As much as I like Peter Weir, this one skipped me. I knew about it. I knew about Linda Hunt's Academy Award, and I knew that she was playing a man in this.
Yep.
A biracial man. And that's
I didn't know the biracial part. Maybe
that I knew, but that's about all I knew about it. And I even when I was looking over the wiki page before I watched the movie, I was like, oh, so I knew there was a romance element to this movie. It's supposed to be like an actual steamy romance. I didn't know post-alien Sigourney Weaver. Post-alien pre-Ghostbusters, like it was the next year. So, or 2 years from what? Next year. No,
2 years after
2 years away. 84. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, I'd never heard Sigourney Weaver with an English accent before.
No, that completely threw me.
But her mom's English.
Ah.
So it's like there is an English background to her. It's not just like American doing English, but so she has a basis for it, even though she may not have been raised in England.
Also, I ended up before we get into the movie, I'll say I really like the score to this movie. And I was like, oh, Maurice Jarre, I don't recognize the name. What did this loser do? Who I like
this
score.
bozo.
But it was like Lawrence of Arabia, Dr. Zhivago, Passage to India. He just did like all these sort of like epic movies.
Well, the opening music is like this really fast Indonesian version of like the Sprockets theme or something like that, which is what
those
it sounded
are cool
like.
Opening credits. Those
which the Sprockets theme, by the way, is just a sped up Kraftwerk song. I don't know if people know that. This movie, Eric, is this a hang movie? How chewy is this movie, Eric? It's kind of chewy. Is this just licorice pizza, but in Jakarta?
I know it's Wait, no, it's not chewy. What's the word you hated that I damn it?
I don't know. You're the one who said it. Sticky? No, that's how work it.
No, god damn it. Why am I forgetting? Jason Mantzoukas says it all the time. And then I showed you how Alan Sepinwall used it in a review too.
I swear it was chewy.
It wasn't chewy.
Juicy.
This is my god.
How supple is this movie?
This is absolutely gonna drive me freaking mad, but we have to keep moving, and I'm gonna try to get back to what is the word that you hate.
Well, I talk about the movie and Eric doesn't listen to me because he's too busy Googling what this term is. This is I enjoyed this movie. It definitely has a certain vibe to it. It felt, whatever the word is that Eric's looking up, it felt like a hang. It wasn't plot driven. It was it was like political climate.
Shaggy. I remembered it.
Okay, this movie is super shaggy. This movie is also super sweaty. This movie is very humid and hot.
Very sweaty. Yeah, Mel Gibson with like a lot of visible sweat on his brow.
So I will say that there would have been a more interesting element present here had they filmed it in Jakarta. So,
which they wanted to, but didn't work out.
So what you're actually looking at is the Philippines for the most part in this movie, which is like, it kind of takes away. I mean, obviously, as Westerners, we're in an exotic location as far as we're concerned, but it is not taking place in where it is supposed to be solely set and basically really importantly themed to, which is this very specific time in Jakarta, the part of where they're on the precipice of a communist uprising in Jakarta, and the strife and the president at the time, and how Billy admires this president but then feels betrayed by the president and it gets Billy killed. And so the fact that it wasn't shot there is kind of weird.
Yeah, and again, they were supposed to, and then the last minute they were denied, and this movie was banned from Indonesia until the year 2000.
Oh man, that's the year the yuppie ghost died in Ghosts.
That's true. It all connects. Also, we should mention, because I remember last week you brought up you were like, was this the first American movie for Peter Weir and Mel Gibson? And the answer is no, but almost, because this is considered an Australian production, but MGM was always going to be the US distributor, and then they lost some funding and MGM stepped in and funded the whole thing. So it's a co-production, a Australian US co-production. So it was like basically a huge foot in the door for Weir and Gibson, who would, I think, after this be making movies.
And then Weir, exactly. Huge foot in the door. Weir's next film would be a fully American affair with The Witness, which I believe, Eric, it's the only film Harrison Ford ever got an Oscar nomination for.
And Gibson is coming off of the second. He's done 2 Mad Max movies at this point.
Yeah, so he's done Road Warrior, which is
Mm-hmm.
the apex of that until Fury Road. So, yeah, and so I dug this movie. I dug the boots on the ground feel of it too, even though it wasn't Indonesia.
I like the vibe of it a lot.
Yeah, well, and as somebody who recommended Peter Weir's Picnic at Hanging Rock, it's like this is sort of his vibe. This is sort of what you get. It's this very immersive slice of life among the populace feeling, and that's what this movie definitely gives you, whether it's riots, protests, just going around town, being in a bar, being in a hotel, being in the hotel bar with Gotham's mayor, Michael Murphy,
who every time I see, because I always really love his delivery in Batman Returns of, you don't have an issue, Max, and you sure as hell don't have a candidate. That's what I think of when I see Michael Murphy.
And Shocker, he was in that movie too.
And a lot of Robert Altman. We're talking about, if you know who we're talking about, he's the American reporter. He's like the douchey.
He's the main other reporter who's kind of annoying and douchey, like you said, and like goes with sort of a lech who goes after prostitutes and like is happy to go to Saigon at the end and stuff.
That actor did a lot of Altman, as Matt mentioned. He's the mayor in Batman Returns, but a lot of Robert Altman. And the big thing he did with Altman, because he was the lead-in, but I've never seen it, I just remember it existing, was Tanner 88, that miniseries about them trying to make like a photogenic presidential candidate. And they did a sequel even a few years later that Altman and him came back together to do.
I never saw that. What did you think? This is a weird movie to go through plot-wise. I'll do my best. But what did you think of the romance element of this? Because it's billed as a romantic drama.
It's interesting,
and the
right?
poster has them like kissing in the background, Gone with the Wind style. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then I when I read that it was a romantic drama, I'm like, well, this is interesting because you're watching the so much of the early stuff. I mean, he doesn't even meet her till like 25 minutes in, and so the beginning of the movie, we're just seeing this dynamic between Guy, Mel Gibson, and Billy, Linda Hunt's character, and so she comes in, and then it kind of becomes a romance, but only really for like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
because once it kind of veers into the whole thing about like, him getting information and Billy being like, you shouldn't use this information. So I think it's not really true to call it a romance. Like the romance is an important part of the movie, but it's not really like, I think it was probably used to sell it more than it actually is a romance.
Yeah.
But I agree
more
with
of a
you,
romance between Billy and Guy, as far as the way that Bill, and I don't mean that actually, like
no.
As far as like romantic love, but like the way Billy, we'll talk about Billy is actually the best character in this movie, really stand out. There's a reason Linda Hunt won. And even though looking back with it decades later with sort of the eyes we have now, as far as like, a woman playing an Indonesian man, an Anglo woman playing an Indonesian man is, not something that we would sort of have nowadays. Even when I was growing up, there was a big controversy about Jonathan Pryce playing a half Indonesian. So that's the thing, is like these are Eurasians, right? So it's like Billy is half Australian. It's just so when I saw Miss Saigon, which was what Jonathan Pryce was in on Broadway, there is something to say about the fact that like it wasn't exactly proper for Linda Hunt to be doing this role, but this was a time when it was only until very recently that we had actors playing marginalized characters, whether they were somebody with who are autistic or had different handicaps or something, and it was even made into a joke in something like Tropic Thunder, which is like how you get an Oscar, and it's made a joke in a lot of movies, which is like this was sort of the go-to, is like you become unrecognizable by transforming into sort of a character that's part of a marginalized and embattled community.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like you said, it's like through a modern lens, Billy, first and foremost, you would never cast a white woman to play this role today. But it's not the only thing in this movie that, like, you look back on it like, oh yeah, like even the fact that this is a movie, set in this country during this huge point of turmoil, and it's all through like mostly through the eyes of the white people who don't live there, and
for sure. And even though the movie makes a point about how they are the elites who rock between the raindrops, right? And like don't report on this stuff and don't show the world the pain and famine that's going on, the poverty. But they can call it out, but it doesn't change the movie. So
because Peter Weir is a good filmmaker, like it is a well done movie, and Linda Hunt's performance is excellent. And thank God, in no way is she doing like a racial caricature. She's not speaking in like an offensive accent. Still, in 2022, you would not cast her in this role, but everything is helped by the fact that it was done, with a kind of a serious mind to it. So even though you can be like, oh, that would not be proper today, it doesn't play like horrible like some stuff can, as we talked about from 40 years ago.
So for those who, I'm sure a lot of people listening know Linda Hunt from something. Obviously famous for being the principal in Kindergarten Cop.
What was the CBS? Didn't she do like a CBS procedural show?
Oh yeah. She was on one of those mentalist type shows. What was it? I
gotta figure this out.
She was one. I want to, and one day maybe we'll just do Westerns, even though we did Tombstone and
NCIS.
She was in Lawrence Kasdan's Silverado, which was a 80s favorite of mine.
A movie I've never seen.
If you're looking for a Western that has Kevin Kline, Scott Glenn, Kevin Costner, Danny Glover, Brian Dennehy, and John Cleese, and Jeff Goldblum, then Silverado is for you, which is, I adore Silverado. It's crazy how well that movie works, even given its sort of eclectic cast. Amanda Wyss is in it too, by the way.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. Just by the way, I'm laughing that.
Oh, and she's in Dune, the original David Lynch Dune. She's been in a ton of things over the years.
But Linda Hunt eventually left NCIS just last year after doing 280 episodes, because Mark Harmon's left that show too. It's just like it's a train and it keeps going.
Yeah, she was on that show for like over a decade at least.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Billy is a great character.
Yes.
Billy is just, when Billy's on the screen, you're always interested in what Billy's saying or doing or what Billy thinks. And like the sort of the unique eccentricities of Billy, like keeping these files, building people up into sort of these weird, like mythical fairy tale type characters almost. And there's a point where Sigourney Weaver's Jill says like, Billy keeps files of people he likes, so it's this mix of like dossiers that also feed into his like shadow puppet shows of like legends and myths. And Billy sadly sort of feels like, Billy asked Jill to marry him once, but Jill said no. So now Billy like is looking for kind of this king to aid, this like in his puppet show. This prince to be a servant to, a hero character, and feels that Guy Hamilton could be this person, which is Billy has sort of resigned himself to not be the main character, but to feed into someone else his ideals and ideas about kindness, goodwill, and charity toward the impoverished people around him.
Right.
And he hopes that Guy can be that person.
And, it's well done, I think, in that there's stuff unsaid that I think you still can understand. Like, it's like, he's this tiny guy and he is like, so he won't be like either like scorned or looked past. He makes himself like super friendly when he comes in and they're all partying. He gets on the guy's shoulders. It's like you without them saying it, it's like you feel like, oh, this is kind of like the role he's decided I will take on to, be there, to be part of it all, and to be accepted by them, And
no one, Billy makes mention to Guy that's like, you don't see me as a dwarf. You don't see me as any different. I've never got that feeling from you. But also like everyone, as sort of insufferable as the other journalists are, like no one treats Billy poorly per se.
No, he's
Billy is
like
just
very,
one of the
very
crew.
accepted. And then and him and Guy, the Gibson character, they have a really good dynamic, and they work, and the two actors, Gibson and Hunt, like they work really well off each other. And there is no like, it is impressive, especially in the era that Billy is not made to feel like this sort of like wacky sidekick character. That it is just like these two are working together, that they're getting the story together.
I'm going to run through a bit of the plot here just so we can get to the middle, which is like Guy shows up in Indonesia. It's Guy's first gig. Guy says
we should say it's the mid 60s.
65.
Do they say that explicitly? I only know that.
I think it says at the beginning I think there's a title that says 65.
Oh, okay. I must have been looking away at the moment.
You must have been like grooving to the music. And Guy's been waiting 10 years for this break and gets mad at himself for screwing up like a radio post. He sort of like wires it back radio style, but also writes up pieces that go into the local paper and paper back home. One of my favorite early parts is when he gets into almost gets into a fist fight over an article. I'm like, all right, journalists, drunken journalists. And is met almost immediately by Billy, who's like, stick with me, kid, and like sort of gets him interviews with the communist leader, and like is the cameraman, but so not just a photographer, but works the movie camera. And we meet the sort of the rogues gallery of other journalists, which we already said includes Michael Murphy and Noel Ferrer and a couple other people. He's got an assistant named Kumar who becomes important later. He's got a driver. And then there's someone else who's bumming around named Tiger Lily, who becomes a little important later. And so we've got the crew going on. And like you said, it's about 25 minutes before he's introduced to Colonel Henderson. And then like this, she works at the British Embassy officer named Jill, and it's played by Sigourney Weaver, who already known. It's not like a first role for her because she was an alien. Man, Sigourney Weaver would have a powerful 80s.
Yes.
It's a super powerful 80s. Because after this, it was just Aliens and 2 Ghostbusters movies and Working Girl.
Gorillas in the Mist. And
which I'm assuming she got a nomination for.
I think she did, yeah.
So
she got nominated for Aliens, which was still is a huge deal.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. It's still because it's so difficult to get a nomination like that for a sci-fi movie, because there's just they scorn it. But no, she got a nomination for that.
That's great. I love that. What a wonderful bit of news.
Right?
And so this is the thing where it's like she mentions that she's leaving, she's out of town in 3 weeks. And so that sort of gives you an idea of how long this is all taking. And it's definitely not a year. Then you also have to
The Year of Living Dangerously is a cool title.
It is. It's awesome. And then so apparently it came from, because this is based on a book, it came from like a political speech, I think delivered by President Sukarno.
Yeah. And it's funny because the title evokes kind of a noir feel that this movie doesn't have. It's not that this movie has a tiny bit of, but not quite. That title makes you think of something very specific, I think.
And so I do believe that they were in lust with each other. The whole thing where it's like, I'm in love with you after like meeting a couple times.
Right.
I don't buy, it's just, that's not the way. Obviously there can be a deep attraction and these two want to hit the sack and like, that's it. But like the fact that like, there's a part after they first sleep together, but then she goes to him again in the rain. Like she comes in out of the rain. She goes to him in his office and stuff like that. And I get that. I just don't think that I don't think there's a deep connection. I'm sure he's happy to see her at the end when he's like has one eye and he sees her on the plane. It's a very funny shot because it's from so far away. I'm like, oh, I guess that's Jill. Okay.
Is that a flight attendant? No, that's Jill.
It's like, yeah, she giving her.
And there's a very strange part where they have like a romantic joyride and then get like shot at by multiple machine guns.
And then they're laughing hysterically while machine gun fire rains down on their car. They're like, oh, what hijinks we get into.
Right.
But then again, during their first like date, I'll say, when they go out and it starts raining and they're drinking and they go in the car, he puts on her hat. And my God, it's the funniest fucking thing she's ever seen in her life. This guy puts her wet hat on, and it's like,
look, it was a bit
the height of comedy.
They just didn't have as much entertainment.
I just saying, like, it later explained why she was so, why she found being almost killed by guns hilarious. Like, she's just got
something off about her.
Yeah, it's just an askew sense of humor, you know. All right. We're kind of bebopping all around this movie, but again, it's not plot driven. So everything's going great. He's got a good thing going with Billy. They're friends. Billy is also, we find out Billy has sort of unofficially adopted a mother and son in town. I should say, like, they're poor. He gives them money and food.
Yeah.
The son is sick, wants the son to go to a doctor. Billy is the one who sort of like sees the unseen. Not only does Billy believe in ghosts, which he calls the unseen, he sees the unseen people too, which are the poor that sort of flood everywhere in this city that the president won't do anything for. And it becomes important, you know, with Billy's fate. But then, so things are going well with Billy. Things are going great with Jill, even though she's about to leave. And then, as you mentioned, she gives Guy a hot insider tip about a shipment of guns that are coming in to arm the communists. And this is where the movie sort of takes off, and it's sort of implied that Billy and Jill are mad at him. But we don't really see that fallout. We don't see them ditch him, or we don't see them. It's like, well, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. She stops taking his calls or whatever. But like, he really does go off on his own to sort of chase this story.
Right. And I felt like this was, it's interesting because it's like Billy's like really seems like it kind of like, you know, it makes him like think differently about Guy. Like, you know, he idealized him, but I'm like, but he is a reporter. It's like he's trying to do his job. It felt like it was, I almost felt like it needed to be something, I don't know.
I did feel like the movie didn't do a good enough job explaining why they were so hard on him.
Right. Because it felt like, well, he wouldn't he want to talk about this?
He even said he was trying to do it by using his own sources, right?
Right. So it wouldn't lead back to them. Yeah.
He wasn't being a full asshole. I just think that. Yeah.
And he has a great line too, where he goes, if I don't follow something like this up, I might as well go and grow watermelons, which I do think is a great. What do you want me to do?
I mean, now that, you know, leaving the way he does, I'm assuming that's what he's going to go back and do in Australia, is just grow watermelons.
It should have said at the title, like, you know, Fast Time style, like where they ended up. Like, Guy ended up growing watermelons.
Well, so it's interesting. We sort of skipped over here the part where Billy and Guy are in the midst of this protest that turns violent as they start throwing rocks at the communists, start throwing rocks at the American embassy. And that's when machetes his leg. And it's all fun and games, right? So they're playing it off. He's like, oh, bastard cut me. And it's like, oh, we, you know, hightail it out of there. And it's a lot of fun. And then he's like, we already mentioned, he and Jill like laughing at being shot at as they crash through a barricade, Dukes of Hazzard style, and Tommy guns firing at them. So it makes the moment at the end when he thinks he can walk into the palace after the communist failed coup attempt. And we learn very quickly that the president himself has even been taken over by the Muslim right-wing generals, because that's the thing, is like his first radio report is like, the president is caught between these two forces. Well, the communists failed, so the right-wingers took over, and he's trying to walk in and he gets clocked in the face and disfigured for all intents and purposes by this, you know, contact with this rifle butt. And so now it's not funny, right? Like now he's trying to get out. He's injured, and getting out is this precarious, life-risking situation where he and Kumar at the end are sort of like trying to get through checkpoints, and he's trying to go get on a plane, flashing his passport. So it becomes very desperate and intense, where before it was just sort of like palling around and almost getting your leg cut off by a machete and stuff like that.
Right. And that's again where I'm like, yeah, it's like, you know, we don't, you know, I guess, you know, Kumar is the only real kind of like local we get to know, because don't forget, Billy's actually a Chinese Australian. Yes. So it's not even like his roots are not there. And the one thing, again, the movie, to its credit, doesn't play it like horrible, but I also was like, yeah, like modern lens. I was like, yeah, there's a lot of like sequences, and they're very like well done, like that sequence with like, yeah, when when everyone's swarming the car. But then I was also like, even there's that other sequence where hookers swarm their car, swarm Michael Murphy.
Yeah, they go to the cemetery for the hookers.
And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of like, we're not getting to know these people. It's just like this sort of these swarms of people here. Although when the hookers swarm the car, it is funny to hear young Gibson, who has way more of an Australian accent. He would lose it over time. But when he's like, it's like a meat market in here. That's like one of his most Australian lines he says in the movie.
Meat market.
Meat market.
All right.
I'm gonna surprise you. New and enjoys
Jacko. So as close as we get personally to like the poverty comes with like through Billy's connection to the mom and the kid, because the kid finally dies, and it has to do with like people just drinking filthy water. Like all the drinking water is just contaminated and filled with feces and disgusting stuff, and like it just makes everyone sick. And the fact that Sakurno never did anything to help felt like a huge betrayal to Billy. Billy, who, again, like Guy, starts idolizing and idealizing these people.
Getting up for 10 seconds to get my cats out of this room. Keep talking.
And feels ultimately betrayed by the president, and has sort of a bit of a meltdown that causes him to do something very dangerous, which is to hang up a sign on his out of the hotel window right as the president is supposed to be arriving and passing by. And it gets him killed and thrown out the window.
Which is interesting because first of all, I wonder if people heard Bella tricks my cat, meowing for food. I'll feed her soon. But yeah, it's funny because I became convinced, because Billy, kind of becomes a little unhinged here. He's really upset. We can talk more about the closeted gay character amongst the reporters. But he's very upset, and he outs that guy, and then he's like drunk. And I even put in my notes, is this going to be like he's going to kill himself? Like I thought that's where we were heading. And then it's not. He is instead, he does something that gets himself killed, though, instead of where I thought they were going. He is like, does a reckless action that directly leads to his death.
Yeah, and it's sad. And he doesn't die right away. Guy gets to see him die.
He smiles to die.
His death sort of brings back Guy and Jill together again, before everything goes to hell, because there's a attempt to take over the government by the communists. And yeah, that's when when Guy gets clocked in the face, and then he's got to get the hell out of town.
Yeah,
and it's all just like, and again, let's just say it takes him, maybe a few weeks before he meets Jill. So maybe he's there for like a month and a half, 2 months at most.
The 6 to 8 weeks of living dangerously.
Yes, they're living very, very dangerously, but also laughing at said danger.
Yes. Actually, and then there's one more, not as extreme, but still odd, because so him and Kumar are trying to make it to the airport to get him out of there. His life is in danger. He's already got a detached retina. And they see a bunch of civilians just massacred in front of them. And they're both like, oh my God. But then they have to talk their way through this checkpoint, which they do. And then they laugh like, wow, we made it through, which would be okay if they hadn't just watched a bunch of people killed. That's like, it's like, we made it. But all those people are still laying there dead that we just watched like 2 minutes ago get killed. But yeah, they're just trying to see the lighter side of life. It is funny because Sigourney Weaver, so she's not there for all this stuff at the end, where it's like, and I actually was like, are we not going to see her again? So like you said, it's funny where she kind of pops up in that far off shot.
It must be the one plane out for Westerners, right? So like,
right.
I guess.
And then of course there's like the thing of that he has to like give up his last of his recordings.
Yeah.
Although it is funny when he like just kind of like walks away. I wanted to whistle like while they're checking the stuff, because I'm like, wouldn't they still maybe stop him?
I get it's sort of like a shedding of his journalist identity, which he was so attached to and held so in such regard, but also like it would have helped more if we knew what was on that tape, like if it was something really important and it was specific that we knew.
Right.
that he had to get back to HQ or something. But like I don't know what was on that tape. It was just him doing karaoke. I don't know what it is.
Right.
But yeah, so that's it for Year of Living Dangerously. Kumar was an interesting character for a little bit, which is in the sense as someone else like Billy, who's there to talk about how like the plight of his people and how, Mel Gibson, how Guy can just leave and go off and like, basically live a privileged life in a place with freedoms and, away from war and despair and poverty. It's just more people making Guy feel guilty. And I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't know if the movie wants us to believe that he and Jill are going to go on and have a future together. Or I don't think so.
No, I think the movie purposely, I think to its credit, but also some might find frustrating. It's like it wants you to kind of come up with your own answers to some of these things. And I mentioned the thing with the closeted gay reporter. Again, this movie is made in 82, but it takes place in 65. So understandable that this character would be very closeted. Now Billy sees him with like that waiter, and Billy doesn't seem particularly like he's not grossed out or like, oh, like he just kind of observes it. And Billy's whole thing is he's observing. But then later when he's drunk, he does like kind of say it in a cruel way in front of everyone else about like with boys.
Well, he's using it because first he accuses Michael Murphy. It's like all of them are exploiting the people around them because they can wave wads of cash that mean nothing to them. So,
and that's what I was going to say is that I don't think he's supposed to be like, oh, he hates gay people. Especially, it's interesting because Linda Hunt did an interview I saw a few years after the movie came out where the interviewer said, oh, I felt like your character, there was like sexual ambiguity there, and she agreed. Now, some of that we might project because it's a woman playing a man, but I also think that is there in the film. Like when he's cutting out that picture of Guy, it feels like,
like when he literally cuts around the silhouette of Guy,
right? Like Joker with Vicky Vale. It's like it's not. I don't think it's like a literal. I don't think we're supposed to be like, oh, he is in love with Guy, but I think that there is that layer there of with Billy, who I think is just a lonely character, and is like looking for a connection he can't quite make. Everyone likes him, but no one is like his life mate. So I think that is an undercurrent in the film as well.
Well, he's the world's first fully functioning homicidal artist. So yeah.
There you go. Yes. I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, Joker.
Party man, Billy.
Party man, yes. Linda Hunt is great. Again, it's like it is just funny to have that 1-2 thing of like, oh my God, a white person is playing an Asian person in makeup.
And then a woman's playing a man. Yeah.
And a woman's playing a man. There's a lot going on here. And then being like, oh, this is a great performance. I see why she won the Oscar. It's just a very compelling character. They give her the voiceover in the film, it definitely like sort of stands out, and you can see why it made a huge impression.
Yes. So I would say thumbs up for Year of Living Dangerously. It's a different film than what we're used to these days. Yeah. Peter Weir definitely has a different style, and it's a style that he sort of cultivated in his Australian filmmaking that changes as he gets into American filmmaking, though some of it's still prevalent. There's parts of Witness as he sort of transitions from Witness was an early favorite film of mine. Like I as a kid, like it was sort of like a rental that I did a lot for whatever reason. But there's elements of Witness where Harrison Ford's character is just sort of living amongst the Amish, like hiding out, that feel a lot like this, where it sort of plays into Peter Weir's strengths of sort of capturing life amongst, you know what I mean?
Yeah. He has a fascinating resume because it's like he does a lot of different kinds of films, and certainly he's got like the big ones like Witness, Dead Post Society, and Truman Show are kind of his big hits. It's so weird he did
Master and Commander I love.
Well, I was about to mention, but I was saying Master and Commander, which I was going to mention because wasn't a huge hit. No. Is very beloved now and is not. I want to make it clear. I did not have like this. Master and Commander is not like a Big Lebowski or Fifth Element where I'm like, I don't get it. I liked Master and Commander, but I haven't seen it since the theater. Like I remember I really liked it, but I want to go back and watch it, especially knowing that its reputation has just kind of grown and grown through the years.
I have the DVD of it. I don't have the Blu-ray. But yeah, and Master and Commander was one of those films that was supposed to be an ongoing series, I believe, because it's books.
Yep.
Which is why it's called The Far Side of the World, like Colon Far Side of the World.
And there's always the hope, especially these days where you never know how things can come back with streaming services. Master and Commander is now owned by Disney because it was a 20th Century Fox movie. So who knows what the future
who knows how dangerously we'll live.
When I did a set visit many moons ago to Fear the Walking Dead. Its second season, Fear the Walking Dead is literally in real life, besides the show characters, in real life has moved production several times where they film it.
Oh yeah.
And so
they film in Texas now. Yeah.
Right. But season 2 and I think 3 filmed in Mexico. And I did my set visit in Mexico and they filmed it at the studio where Master and Commander was made. And it was very cool, Matt, because the ship for Master and Commander is there.
That is cool.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of like water tank stuff that Cameron built there for Titanic, and then got used again for Master and Commander. But yes, I need to go back and watch it because Peter Weir, he's a really good director, and he's almost like there is a vibe to his movies, I think, that makes it like a Peter Weir movie, but he's not like a he moves around with genre, so it's not like you're like, oh, that's the kind of movie he likes to make. He makes a lot of different kinds of movies, and while this wasn't like a new favorite of mine of his. It is, to quote my dad Sheldon Goldman, it is interesting. It is,
it's always interesting, especially looking back on a movie like this, really not knowing anything about this movie other than the basics, and so I don't know where it's headed. I don't know how it's going to end. I don't know what's going on, who will die, what's happening. So yeah, it's always interesting to go back and just sort of look at a movie with mostly fresh and blind eyes at the same time. Okay. Doesn't make any sense, but that's fine. I'm tired of it. Usually I'm around this time. Fresh and blind. The best way to see a movie. So next week, The Dark Crystal, we've got that in the pike, and I think that's it. That's it.
Well, I think we're gonna have a special episode by Monday.
Yes, so things to look forward to. I'm pretty sure. So this weekend we've got Thor: Love and Thunder coming out. So you're going to get a bonus episode for that. Those who are Hudson Hawks on Patreon, and then after the finale on Wednesday, we're looking to do a Miss Marvel look back. So yeah.
I want to slightly caveat that we're going to try really hard to do Miss Marvel. I'm just thinking ahead to we're going to start running into Comic-Con. But I think we'll be able to pull it off. But I think we'll do Thor: Love and Thunder for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do Miss Marvel. No, you saying we're not going to do Miss Marvel? You're just saying you don't know when.
90% chance we'll do Miss Marvel.
I mean, 90 is pretty good. 90 is pretty.
What if? Yeah, it's pretty good.
All right, everything is possible, but nothing is real. And Shockma. I'm hiccuping. I hiccuped during a Shockma.
The bonus.
Shockma!